this video, I'm going to share the exact systems and processes we use with our client, the biggest door-to-door company in Canada. These are the exact frameworks, systems, software, etc. that we use for them. And so by the end of this video, you'll be able to take everything that I share and apply it to your own operations. And then that way, you'll be able to post 1 to 5 pieces of content per day on your corporate channel for your door-to-door organization. So yeah, if you're new here, my name is York Sidorenko. I'm the founder of Acquisition Architecture, where we scale door-to-door companies and create organic recruitment channels for them. And we've been working with Canada's biggest door-to-door company for 2 years now. And we've been running and operating their whole content social media team. And so in this video, I'm really just going to pull back the curtain and share exactly what we do and what we have implemented and what we continue to do so that we're posting 1 to 5 pieces of graphics per day. We're going to walk through these 3 different steps. So the first step is hiring the talent and training them. The next step is the systems and the software we use. And then the third step is the actual creating and the development of content. So obviously, you can't really make as much content if you don't have the right team members or talent. And so you want to decide first what your budget is for these team members. So here is basically what you can get at each price point. So if your budget is only, let's say, $500 a month or less, you're probably going to get someone from a third world country who are typically going to be pretty unresponsive or slow to communicate. And for the most part, they'll be inexperienced. And yeah, another option you can do here is set up a content rewards campaign. I really recommend, if it's a personal brand, to do this. Corporate brands, it's a little harder to do. So a content rewards campaign is basically a feature within WAP where you would create a new campaign, you'd upload a bunch of content like video assets, and then you basically give them instructions for the content, what to make. And then you'll see these submissions. Random people will just join your WAP and they'll submit all these different videos using your video assets, posting to their own accounts that they manage and own. And then you can download these videos if you like them and you can post them to your own account. Super good for personal brands. Again, not super applicable for corporate brands. I have a full another breakdown of how to set that up on my YouTube, so you can watch that on your own time. But the next budget, say you have $1,500 a month, you can expect 1 to 3 unique graphics per week, 2 to 5 template graphics, and 1 to 2 videos per week at that price point. Now it depends. You probably won't be able to have 3 unique graphics, 5 template graphics, and 2 videos. It's kind of prioritizing whether you want quantity or quality typically at this budget. And so you most likely won't have a creative director or an account manager. So you'll be responsible for planning all the ideas, for posting and engaging with your community and your followers. But you'll start to have a little more content that you can post. The next budget is $3,000 a month. This is the entry for a corporate company to post graphics, and it's getting more quality and it's getting more consistent. There's more quantity as well. So per week, you can expect 3 to 6 unique graphics, 3 to 7 template graphics, and 2 to 4 videos. And then sometimes at this price point, you can have a creative director and or an account manager who is posting these graphics, these videos, and also planning the content as well. Most likely at this price point, it's all one person, and you'll need to be a little patient when you're training and onboarding them for them to really get up to speed. Whether they come from inside your company or they're external, it all depends. For the most part, you'll have to generate or help at least with the ideas and basically give them briefs on what content to make. At $5,000 per month, you can expect 5 to 9 unique graphics, 7 to 8 template graphics, and 2 to 5 videos per week. You'll have a creative director and account manager who are essentially completely autonomous. So you'll give them the scope, you'll give them the content strategy, you'll give them your brand identity, and then they'll be responsible for just creating the content, and you'll be super hands off. So, I mean, if you're anywhere between 30 to 100K per month or more, this is probably the minimum budget for you. The reason I say this is because you have more important priorities, more high leverage tasks than planning the ideas, than managing these people. It's much better to just have them be autonomous. And then at $10,000 per month, you can expect 7 to 20 unique graphics, 7 to 12 template graphics, and 5 to 12 videos per week. You'll have a creative director, an account manager, and you have to do nothing, like even more or even less, and you can have even more trust. And this is when you start getting more quality and quantity. So with $5,000 per month, it's a bit of a sacrifice between whether you want super high quality stuff or a lot of quantity or somewhere in between. At $10,000 per month, that's when you start really getting the best of both worlds. So at this budget as well, you can have some script writing and pre-production work done by the talent, and then that is given to your sales managers, to yourself, and then you're responsible for filming the content and all that stuff. And then, yeah, you can also have multiple accounts. Say you have 5 different offices and you want each to have their own Instagram page and posting content pretty regularly. This would also be a good budget for that. So now that you're pretty clear on your budget, you will want to obviously put out a job posting and start attracting the people that you want to be part of the creative team. So on Instagram, you can make a post like this, basically just saying that you're hiring and that who specifically you're looking for, and then in the caption have something like DM for more info. If you do this, I recommend doing an actual post, not a story, because the story means that they have to see it within 24 hours and then it dies, but an actual post lives forever. You can do a simple and easy post, like basically just like screenshotting some text or writing in your notes app, but that might not actually attract the most quality talent, because quality talent wants to join established teams and at least have a clearer idea of what kind of content, what kind of style they want to be making. So if you make a sick graphic, maybe you hire like a freelancer or someone off Upwork just to make a one-off graphic, and then they make that post. But for the job posting, it's pretty simple. You can just use this prompt I'm about to share, and then it'll ask you clarifying questions, and then you basically tell it what you're looking for. So pause here and screenshot, or you can join the WAP. I'll link it in the bio or in the description, and we have this template or have this prompt ready to copy and paste. But here's an example of what it would look like. So as you can see, I prompted it with that prompt. It says, "Hi, I'm Lyra, your AI prompt optimizer." I said, "Detail using ChatGPT, create a prompt for a job posting for a graphic designer for a door-to-door company." And then I'd basically answer all these questions. Let's say just something like that. You are a professional HR copywriter, and then it'll basically give you a super perfect prompt. And then when you put this prompt somewhere like this, you'll get a full job posting. And then the more specific you can be in that with those initial questions that it asks you, the better it'll be. So like you'll also provide details on your company, you'll provide a company website, and then it'll create a super aligned output. After you post a job posting, you're gonna get people applying, obviously. And this is how you structure the interviews. So here are the questions you definitely wanna ask. I'm sure if you're a founder, if you're a sales manager, you already are pretty good at interviews, hopefully. And so you kind of have an idea of what to ask. But specifically for graphic designers and video editors, these are some good question. So what's your story? The goal of this question is to find out their creative background and their experience. We're just looking for those experiences that would signal that they have a unique creative taste, that they have experience, etc. So the next question is, what does your creative process look like from idea to execution? And then a follow-up question for that is, what changes and what's different when it's a team project versus a solo project? And this is just to get an idea of if they would be collaborative and they'd work well with the team, as well as just to gain some more context for you, for if you do hire them, you kind of know what their process looks like and you can trust them a little more. Typically, my personal own creative process, I have an idea or I've been given a brief by a client. I understand the scope, what the purpose of the graphic is, and then I'll go to Cosmos or an app like Pinterest and I'll look at different graphics and find some inspiration, different elements that I like. Sometimes it'll just be one, sometimes it'll be a few, and I want to blend them together. And then I'll start getting to work. So depending again on what the graphic is, I'll grab the assets I need, such as textures, pictures, etc. And then I'll start building out the composition. Once I have the composition kind of figured out, I'll figure out the colors. Once the colors are figured out, I'll figure out the textures and just the final touches. But that's a broad overview of what my creative process looks like, just so you can have an idea of like what kind of answer to expect. If they say something like, I kind of just go with it, or they don't mention the importance of knowing what the scope or having a clear, having clear context of what the actual project or the graphic or the video is required and the use case and what is needed to be implemented in that, then they probably don't have experience if they're answering that question like that. So the next question is, who are your favorite creatives and artists in every discipline? So ideally they would say names aligned with your brand identity or just creatives that you fuck with. And then pay attention to if they say niche names that you haven't heard of. This signals that they know what they like, that they don't follow trends, and they have a specific creative taste. I mean, for me personally, I'm very opinionated when it comes to taste. I know exactly what I like and what I don't like. And one thing that I hate is people without taste. So with this question, you're kind of just looking for and getting a better idea of what their taste is. The next question is, what software and tools do you use and know how to use? If they say Canva as like their primary software that they use for graphics or design, just like hang up right away. That's the biggest red flag. Now, Canva does have a time and place, sure. Is it for your corporate social media when you're trying to make super sick graphics? Probably not. But it, again, also kind of depends on your budget. If you have a $500 a month budget for a creative team and you're expecting them to do a lot of quantity over quality, then Canva might be the right tool to use. But generally speaking, for graphics, you want to see them be able to use Photoshop. For video, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, they're all the same. And then After Effects is a massive bonus. And After Effects, if you don't know, is used to make motion graphics and add different effects to videos. And this is a big bonus because most door-to-door companies don't incorporate motion into their graphics, so you'll have an edge. And if you were to hire a motion graphics expert or After Effects expert, typically they're a lot more expensive. You'll have those questions. I'm sure you'll have your own questions. The conversation will flow in whatever way it flows, and you'll have follow-up questions. But these are the specific things to look for. So their portfolio, is it good? Does it match your brand and vision? And do you see potential? So if their portfolio is perfectly on brand, if they won't have to change their style, it's a good fit. It's probably going to work out. Another good thing to look for in their portfolio is, are they able to kind of change their style? Are they able to experiment? Are they able to do a bunch of different styles? And then that is also a good signal that they're good at what they do. Another thing to look for is if they have taste. They know what they like and they don't like. I remember I had this one interview with a graphic designer who we're still working with, and I forget what prompted it, but she basically just said, "I hate ugly things." And right there, I was like, okay, this is going to be a good fit. And the reason being is because tasteless people, or people who don't put much consideration into creative work, they typically don't know what they don't like, and they don't know why they like a certain thing. And so basically in the interview, you want to look for that they know what they don't like about it, what they like, and what they like about it. I have never done this, but I think it's actually a good idea. I just had this idea. But you could show them graphics and ask them what they think about it. You can ask them what they like and what they don't like, and if they can give you super specific, tangible stuff and use creative jargon and acumen, then it's a very good signal. Another thing to look for is that they have 2 to 5 hours a day, depending again on your budget and how much content you want to produce, whether you want to prioritize quality or quantity. You want to make sure that they actually have the time to do it. If they have agency, as in they're conscientious, industrious, and self-motivated. The other thing you want to look for, they work well alone and with teams, and they can take constructive criticism, and they have a track record of doing so. If after the interview they seem like a really good fit and you see a lot of potential, you'll run a trial period, and you should always do a trial period. So this can be 1 or 2 projects, or this can be for the first month, and you want to just pay attention to how much agency they have, how fast they can turn around projects, and how close they can make the work to your vision, and how many revisions it takes to get there. Most often, even nowadays, with that graphic designer that I was just talking about, maybe 1 out of every 5 times, there's something about a graphic that I don't necessarily want, so I ask for a revision, and she's super good and she's super quick to revise. You definitely don't want someone who is either takes it personally that there needs to be a revision, or that once you tell them to revise something, they take longer than it took to make the initial graphic. Once the trial period is over and you want them to become a part of your team, you'll have a training period, or you'll give them a bunch of different training assets. And some of these assets you'll definitely want to give in the trial period, but here's an overview of what you want to provide and want to make sure that they understand about your company, about everything that you want. So they need to understand how your company works in common terminology. So if they're in door-to-door, if they previously did door-to-door, they'll have a good idea, and that's another thing you can look for. You won't always find that. That's obviously more rare for a creative and a door-to-door person and to go into one. But these are the general things that you want to share with them. For the sake of time, I'm not going to walk through all of them. I want to just put an emphasis on the creative alignment needs. So you'll want to create a brand identity doc. In the brand identity, you have your mood board, you have your logos, your fonts, your colors, the do's and the don't do's, things to avoid, etc. And then in the content strategy, you'll want to provide more of that information about the type of content you want to make, the different pillars they fall into, how to create each content. Even if you are experienced in making content, then you'll want to record looms on how to make a graphic, how to make a video, etc. And then how to use specific tools. So in the next step, I'm going to share the tools and the software we use for collaborating and storing all of these assets. Like, as a creative, as a video editor or a graphic designer, the most important part is that you provide them with these things. I'm not going to go through it, but you can pause here, screenshot. The next step is the actual software we use. So Airtable we use for storing all the images and assets of the reps, because obviously if you're watching this, you're familiar with the general strategy around corporate brands, and that's just posting pictures of your rep who hit a big day and posting their revenue, their accounts, etc. And so we use Airtable for that. The reason why we use Airtable is that if you were to press on one of these pictures, you can just copy and paste it. Unlike Google Drive where you have to download it, you have to wait for it to download, then you have to drag and drop it, and it just gets messy. And then if you put it into your laptop, it just takes so much space. It's just way faster and more efficient to do that with Airtable. Another reason why we use Airtable is that we can create forms through Airtable. So they'll fill out their name, they'll upload their images, and they'll provide their Instagram at. So that way, whenever they hit a big day, we just send them the form, they fill it out, make sure that we tag them, and then they repost it. Airtable is definitely the best tool we found for storing all the assets and collecting assets. So Notion is what we use as a content management system. So we'll have a content calendar. Let me just show you. This is basically what our internal one looks like. We'll set up a content calendar. If you press a random video, you'll basically see different properties for each. So the platform, Instagram, content type, short form, the editor, where we'll assign who the editor is. The final versions, when it's done, we'll upload it there, and then the inspiration, the assets, etc. And then I'll give a brief in the page. And then once it's ready to be posted, let's see here. So say this is ready to publish. The graphic designer, when they upload it, they'll press ready to publish. If it's just a topic and the creative director or yourself just entered a new idea, they'll just set it as need to edit. They'll assign the editor, and they'll put the name of the content, and then obviously provide a brief, which I'm gonna get to next. But yeah, that's basically it for the software. Pretty simple. You don't want to make the system and the process too complex. This is the simplest, easiest, most efficient system that we've figured out. Once you have this team member, once you've set up the software, once everything's figured out up until now, you'll actually want to start creating content. So you'll use your project management tool, whatever the tool. So you can use Notion, you can use Asana, you can use even Airtable, doesn't matter what you're using. But you'll give the content idea a title, a date for when it is posted, when you want to get it posted. You'll provide inspiration, you'll assign the editor, give the relevant assets, and then a brief. So in the brief, you want your vision for the graphic, what numbers to use, and a script/topic if it's a video. It's optional, but you can record a loom breaking down your vision and how to make it. And then the general guidelines when making a brief is be extremely clear. Ask yourself, would a 5th grader understand this? And make sure that the information is organized. So here's an example of a loom. They watch the 6-minute video and then they read this. And then for revisions are super simple for graphics. You just tell them what you like and what you don't like, but it gets hard when you don't know what you don't like. And then it's super frustrating for the graphics designer because they basically will just have to redo the whole graphic and then hope you like the next one. So the more clear you can be with what you don't like and what needs revision, the better. And can make sure that you communicate all those things. For video, we use frame.io. And basically what, as you can see here, is you'll upload a video, and then on the timeline of the video, you can add comments such as remove this clip, and then give more nuanced, specific feedback. Like, it'll get super messy if you're just going through text. So Frame.io is the best for video revisions and just producing video stuff. But yeah, I hope you found that helpful. Let me know what you thought if you're going to implement this. And if you want help implementing this, if you want all these templates for us to set up everything for you, to hire the talent, to onboard them onto your team, hit the link in the bio, join the WAP. Once you join the WAP, you'll be prompted to book an onboarding call. From there, we'll have a discussion to see if you'd be a good fit. We don't tend to take on a lot of clients because we do a lot of stuff. I mean, this is just what we do for social media. We have a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to get too much into what we do, but essentially we set up your whole recruitment funnel, your organic recruitment funnel, so you don't have to go in person to universities or rely on referrals. And then we also set up other things like gamified leaderboards, etc., etc. So yeah, if you're interested, join the WAP, book an onboarding call, and we will discuss if we think you are a good fit. Thank you for watching. Also, subscribe and like. I don't think I've ever said that in a video, but yeah, if you feel obliged, do it.